Every moment that I like ask, hey, I can't find this clip, can you guys send it to me? Chat will be like, oh, this must mean it's an opportunity for me to send you a completely unrelated clip, even though you are looking for something very specific. Hello, it's time for me, Chatter, to come back and show you a completely unrelated clip.
I called you earlier, but I'm calling you.
Bro, this is a movie, dude. This is like literally a movie.
Because I just wanted to make sure during the process of ending the conservatorship that my father threatened me several times that he'll take my children away. I just want to be guaranteed that everything will be fine with the process.
Amid a media frenzy, the 26-year-old pop star was brought by ambulance to a Los Angeles hospital.
Bro, she's 26, bro. I mean, I'll admit it. Like, this is more compelling than Tenet. Like, straight up, like, this is actually better than Tenet. Dude, look at this! That is so psychotic, dude. What the fuck?
Despite every aspect of Britney's personal life being put on display and picked apart in 2007, Britney was dealing with even more behind the scenes that the public and media didn't know about. A very concerning alleged leaked email between Britney and her attorney Gary Stifelman was released, giving us a glimpse into why Britney was so paranoid and struggled to trust anyone, including her own family that year. The email from July of 2007 reads, "Gary, since you are my lawyer, even though I don't know if you're really trying to protect me or not, but there's this crazy lady, Lou Taylor, that has been sending stuff to my house. How did she get my address, and why can't you stop her? I don't know her. She is a stalker. She is really terrifying me and my babies. If she knows where I live, then she can just show up here. She sent me a pink hat, and she is writing letters like she is my mother. She has been stalking me since Malibu, and it needs to stop because I don't have security. And Sam refuses to stay over every night because he has 1,000 dogs to go feed, and I have my babies in London, and she keeps saying I'm possessed and that she needs to come and kill these spirits."
What is happening? What is happening? What? This is taking a very weird turn, dude. Hold me, chat. What the fuck is going on, dude? Why? Bro, this is a roller coaster of emotions. Like the highs, the lows, the unfathomable injustice. From top to bottom, this is a masterpiece that deliberately and carefully and clearly documents a person's descent into such horrific circumstances.
She told me, she said, "Britney, go to the light. Go to the light and see Jesus, okay?" And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna do it. And I did it. And it happened. And it was just so weird because our world is so nice.
We told her 1,000,000 times to leave me alone, and now she's saying she's going to visit my drunk father in Kentwood. I don't care about him, but she could easily find my mother and hurt her. What am I supposed to do when Sam is not here? I'm scared. Can you call him and tell him how important it is that he needs to stay here every night? Because it's like no one is listening to me. And now she sent me pictures of her and a man and butterflies. She is really crazy. Do you care if I'm dead? Because I cannot sign your checks if I am. Your client, Britney Jean Spears.
What the fuck is this?
A fan of Britney's posted the email recently on Instagram calling Lou Taylor Britney's stalker. Lou Taylor decided to respond to this fan, basically confirming the email is real, but stating Britney was not the one who wrote it. Lou said, "Do you know she did not write the email? Did you look at her post? Seriously, you all are out of control." Then Lou said, "Did you know twice in court under oath, Sam Lutfi admitted to writing the emails? Seriously." Sam would then immediately send Lou a cease and desist, stating Lou defamed him. Lou saying he admitted to writing that email is false, demanding Lou immediately and permanently delete these comments. And Lou did just that. She deleted every comment that mentioned Sam. The fears outlined in that email that Lou Taylor, Britney's alleged stalker, would begin to weasel her way into Britney's family would come true. By the end of 2007, Lou would be representing both Lynn Spears and Jamie Lynn.
What the fuck? What is happening? What is happening? Why is this allowed, dude?
As the roughest year of Britney Spears' life comes to
Okay, this part has to, like, these are Britney stans, so there has to be more to this than just the way that they're describing it. It literally does not make sense. Bro, what happened? Like, did Britney Spears fucking make a wish into a monkey's paw or something? Like, she just was like, I want to be the most famous person on the planet. And then boom, the monkey's paw crumbles and it's over. It's a wrap. Like, you are going to be one of the most famous and richest people on the planet. But for the rest of your life, you're fucked. Like, everyone is going to exploit you. Everyone's going to abuse you. Everyone's going to shit on you. Non-fucking stop. Someone one time said this whole situation is QAnon for gays. I mean, it would be QAnon for gays if it wasn't like well-documented shit.
a close, 2008 begins with even more hardships. A battered Britney Spears is heading into yet another rough year. And Britney didn't know it yet, but her days as a free woman were numbered. Just one day after New Year's Day, Trope and Trope, Britney's custody attorneys, filed to be relieved of duty and left her hanging just before her deposition with Kevin's lawyer relating to her grueling, ongoing custody battle. And just one day later was the beginning of a saga of Britney involuntarily turning over her freedom. On January 3rd, after being questioned by Kevin's lawyers, Britney retreated to her gated community, The Summit, where her sons were there with a court-appointed monitor for their regular visit. However, hordes of paparazzi were waiting to capture every moment of Britney's private life, even in her gated community. And about 6.5 hours pass with her kids, and it's time for them to go back to Kevin, and for Britney to once again be alone with her thoughts and no children to take care of. But just as Kevin's security team arrives to pick up her boys and take them back to his house, they immediately realize there is a major problem, as Britney's assistant, Carla, is making up excuses for Britney not immediately turning the children over. Sean was taken out of the house and into the car by the court-appointed monitor before Britney locked herself in her home with Jaden. And just 1 hour later, police are notified and officers arrive by the monitor, who is still locked outside of the house. But the monitor doesn't have the paperwork to grant them entry into the locked house. At this point, Britney had locked herself in the house with Jaden for 2 hours and 20 minutes. And Kevin's attorney shows up with the proper paperwork to grant the police entry. And just like that, a drove of police cars enter Britney's gated community. More than 12 police officers, 2 ambulances, and several fire trucks are stationed outside of Britney's home. At this point, Britney's cousin and friend Allie Sims and her assistant Carla are both outside of the house, leaving Britney entirely alone with Jaden. And just over an hour later, Britney is removed from her home and strapped to a gurney, but not before the media arrives on the scene.
Amid a media frenzy, the 26-year-old pop star was brought by ambulance to a Los Angeles hospital from her Beverly Hills home. Another chapter in her long-running custody battle with ex-husband Kevin Federline over their 2 sons. As this video provided by Entertainment Tonight and The Insider shows, Spears was taken by stretcher into the emergency room. Her husband, Federline, was at the hospital when she arrived.
.com is reporting that Britney was taken out of her home on a gurney by paramedics. And
Bro, you know what this reminds me of? Have you ever seen like stories of parents? It's like actually a disease, like it's a mental health issue, a mental disorder, where like parents will sometimes like poison their children to make them, what is it called? Munchausen's. Yeah, Munchausen's. Like, where parents will somehow like sometimes poison their children to make them more dependent. Munchausen by proxy. Okay, yeah. It's like It feels like that, but it's a mental health problem in which a caregiver makes up causes an illness or injury in a person under his or her care, such as a child, elderly adult, person who has a disability, because vulnerable people are the victims. It's a form of child abuse or elder abuse, right? Like, I feel like what the what her parents were doing to her is kind of like that. It's kind of like that, but just for like constantly keeping her under lock and key and just abusing her and also creating a cycle where like she's dependent on them for caregiving.
That she is now being taken to a local hospital on what's being called a medical hold, essentially a mental evaluation.
At this point, Britney Spears is on her way to the hospital, escorted in an ambulance by 13 police cars under blue light sirens. And at 12:30 a.m., Jaden is taken in a separate ambulance to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where Kevin Federline and Mark Vincent Kaplan are waiting in the emergency room. Sam Lutfi even followed the ambulance to the hospital and was initially denied entrance. And just 45 minutes later, Jamie Spears, Britney's father, arrived on the scene. This was a big deal as the two hadn't seen each other in approximately 8 months, after her father sided with Larry Rudolph during their falling out and called Britney a sick little girl to the media. It was reported that Britney would be on monitored observation for at least 72 hours. Now, more recently, we've gained even more insight into the situation, as a letter allegedly written by Britney Spears in the third person was leaked to the public by a photographer, where Britney explains, "No one knows the truth. Her behavior when her children got taken away because of her locking herself in the bathroom is understandable, considering her friend at the door kept telling her the cops are leaving, don't worry, stay in the bathroom. She was lied to and set up. Her children were taken away and she did spin out of control, which any mother would in those circumstances." And just a few days after the incident, Lou Taylor got involved and allegedly convinced Britney's father to have Dr. Phil go to Cedars-Sinai to see Britney and convince her to stay in treatment. And Dr. Phil did end up going.
Bro, this Lou Taylor, every time she gets brought up, it's like the music. And I don't know if the music is guiding my feelings of her or if she's just like straight up the biggest villain here that I did not even know existed. Also, what the fuck is Dr. Phil doing here? Oh my God.
Going and speaking to Britney. But as soon as he did, he went against the
He's such a fucking clout shark, dude. He's literally the biggest clout demon.
family's wishes and released a public statement to the media saying that Britney will be doing a taping about the entire situation. The entire Spears family was feeling betrayed, and Lou Taylor, who'd conveniently snuck into the position of Spears family spokesperson, spoke to the media saying,
"What's wrong with Dr. Phil's statement is that he made a statement. The family basically extended an invitation of trust for him to come in as a resource to support them, not to go out and make public statements."
This isn't the only time Lou Taylor has snuck her way into a young and vulnerable celebrity's life, as she also attempted to take control over Lindsay Lohan in 2010. After bailing her out of jail,
Lou Taylor came into Lindsay's life as a knight in shining armor.
Wait, so is this Lou Taylor person like, is this what she does? Like, how is there not a movie about her? Because someone is saying, like, look at this, dude. Every child actor and like every person that's been vilified, Lou Taylor is right there. Like, I feel like she is the business manager for people that you want to admit, like people who want a 5150. She manages the fucking Prince estate, dude. She literally manages the Prince estate. Always going to involve her clients in more asset appreciating businesses. or a personal liquor brand. Her client roster includes Steven Tyler, Mary J. Blige, Sean Diddy Combs, Florida Georgia Line, Priyanka Chopra Jones, and the Prince Estate. She was also instrumental in setting up the Britney Spears' highly lucrative and influential Las Vegas residency in 2013. Shut up. She works with Amanda Bynes too? Okay, maybe she just works with everyone though, because like there's like really sus ones, there's really sussy ones, but also like normal ones too. I think she does like when Lou Taylor enters, you're gonna resent her. I already do. There's like something about Lou Taylor that, oh my God. You fucking bet, RTBA. You bet Lou Taylor wanted to do that shit to Kanye, dude. Yo. Dude. I feel like she's there. She's like a regular business manager. Obviously, she's like a regular business manager because otherwise she wouldn't have all of these other clients who then... No way. This is like her thing on the side, dude. Allegedly. Bro, she's like all of these stories seem as though this person allegedly cares very much. Like has like actual clients and does like asset management for them. And then also on the side, allegedly takes care of... I mean, dude, look at this. Yo, Hollywood is so fucked, dude. Hollywood is so fucking fucked. Hollywood business manager Lou Taylor's ferociously breaking the glass ceiling. What the fuck? Takes away the assets of naive girl celebs? No. She's not responsible for their mania, but she suspiciously is right there for in the right moment to safeguard their assets and turn it into a conservatorship that then ends up like paying dividends to the family members and probably like paying herself a decent chunk too, a decent percentage. About 6 years ago, I would go to a pub in the city center, which had a tip jar that said every tip we get goes towards killing Justin Bieber. Wait, what the fuck? Ew. They had backlash here in the Twin Cities when they had tours of Prince's mansion and were selling his estate and memorabilia only a week out. Bro, am I being like QAnon here right now, or do we just like stumble across something that's like very scary?
Lou Taylor allegedly formulated a plan with Lindsay's mother, Dina, to take control over her finances and healthcare for an indefinite amount of time. A source told X17 that Lou has suggested to Dina Lohan that they seek conservatorship over Lindsay's estate. Of course, Lindsay doesn't really have any assets to speak of, so it would really be for the sole purpose of controlling her future earnings. The problem is neither Dina nor Michael would ever be granted a conservatorship by a judge, so Lou went searching for someone else to fill that role, someone with whom she could partner in a business sense, someone she trusts. This time she thinks Larry Rudolph may be the answer. Lou now realizes choosing Britt's dad as a conservator may not have been the best idea. He got power hungry and decided he didn't need Lou anymore. So this time, Lou thinks Larry might be willing to work her way on this and be a figurehead in Lindsay's career while Lou works behind the scenes. The source expanded on Brittany's situation, saying Lou totally brainwashed Jamie. She convinced him a conservatorship was the only way to go, and of course he went along with it when he heard about the financial control it would give him. But Lou didn't have Jamie in mind as the conservator at the beginning. She considered suggesting Larry Rudolph, but she was afraid he would abuse the power. With Jamie, Lou thought she would have someone who was naive enough that she could continue to influence him, and therefore continue to have a direct influence on Brittany's life and career for years to come. But Lindsay's father came to her rescue, publicly bashing Lou, saying, since Dina and manager Lou Taylor are going to try to be co-conservators, I had a choice of fighting it or petitioning for the purpose of appointing two conservators who don't have an interest in Lindsay's money, but rather her as a person and human being. Dina and Lou have their hands in it, not their hearts. A lot of the controversy in Lindsay's life wouldn't be there if Lou Taylor and Larry Rudolph weren't part of the equation.
I'm trying to make her aware that her mom and her business manager, her new business manager, Lou Taylor, they're actually trying to put Lindsay in the rehab so they can get a conservatorship over, and Lindsay doesn't even know it. When Lindsay's in the rehab, they're going to move for conservatorship. They want to put her in there. They want to control her finances. They want to control everything that she's doing, the people in and out of her life.
I want to make one thing clear so you all know this. When Lindsay was supposed to go into Morningstar Rehab, they started to reconstruct everything there for Lindsay to accommodate her. Sean Chapman Holly, Sean and Lou Taylor leaked that to the press because they wanted Lindsay to get out sooner and have her in UCLA so she wouldn't spend much time in the rehab. They're destroying my daughter's life.
After being admitted due to the circumstance with her children, Brittany was released from the 5150 as the danger had subsided. But little did Brittany know there was much more.
Her conservatorship fee is $10K a week? That can't be true. Are you serious? There's no shot. That's making $500,000 a fucking year? Approved by court. Bro, this is literally I care a lot. This is literally I care a lot. I'm losing my fucking mind.
Danger to come. According to Lynn's tell-all, Jamie and Lou were concocting a plan to file for major documents that would cause Brittany to relinquish her finances, her children, and her freedom as soon as January 22nd. About a week after Brittany was released from the hospital, Kevin was even granted full custody of the children for the month. And Brittany, unfortunately, had no visitation due to the incident that had occurred. And it is important to note, this is still a time in Brittany's life where she has isolated herself. Her circle mainly consisted of Sam Lutfi, Ali, and Adnan Ghibli, her paparazzi boyfriend. However, that circle was getting even smaller as Brittany began to isolate herself even further. And Ali spoke out against Adnan, saying she didn't believe Adnan had good intentions with Brittany. And he was, after all, a paparazzi, the same people who had terrorized her so much and exploited her for every penny they could. Around this time, we also see Felicia Culotta, Brittany's old assistant, express that she wanted to work for Brittany again. However, she was in contact with Lynn, who said Brittany still needed to recover from the traumatic events that had occurred in the years prior. And as January 22nd approached, according to Lynn's tell-all, Lou Taylor and Brittany's father felt God telling them to wait, saying quiet plans had been underway for 6 weeks for Jamie to petition the court for temporary conservatorship of Brittany. But it seems like an impossible dream at that point, with Sam still so entrenched in her life. In fact, Jamie was going to file for the conservatorship on January 22nd, 8 days beforehand, but he and his business manager Lou felt God leading them to wait, fast, and pray, despite the frustration of a phalanx of lawyers. But just 1 week after, everything came to a boil.
Bro, this literally went like... We need to take like a 1 second break from all this, okay? I need to collect myself. And also put this fucking pad down. I'm trying to stand up more so my back's no longer fucked. Dude, what is happening here, dude? Oh, my frame is shattered. My frame is so shattered, dude. This is Kajimbo. This is absolutely Kajimbo. Ashley Banks, Lou Taylor has approached Amanda Bynes. This is my Amanda's tweets. This is her alias account, so the media can't quote her. God damn, stans are crazy.
Point. Britney's family, team, and psychiatrists were beginning to plan an involuntary hold with the LAPD.
Yeah, this didn't go from 0 to 100. There was over 100 to 1,000, dude. We started off at 100, and now we're at like 1,000. It's gonna get to 1,000,000 by the end of this.
And Britney's family staged an intervention at her home. They explained how they were concerned about Sam Lutfi's influence. And coincidentally, on the exact same day, Sam Lutfi's past was exposed by Blender magazine. A few days later, Sam and Britney phoned into TMZ, where they say her family just barged in, stating they have an agenda and are jealous they no longer fit into Britney's life. Britney did say her and Sam argue. And later that day, Britney's family tried to execute the involuntary hold, but the LAPD were waiting for the paparazzi to leave. But the next day at 1 a.m., the LAPD and LAFD came with an ambulance and Britney was put on a 5150 hold, psychiatric evaluation once again. She went willingly with Sam Lutfi and her parents to UCLA Medical Center, and allegedly Sam and her parents were arguing about her care. Should she be declared unfit to care for herself? TMZ reported she was taking Adderall and was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
We have talked to a lot of people in her world. She has never been formally diagnosed with being bipolar.
And Britney's mom, per Britney's lawyer, wanted to take her home to Kentwood, away from Hollywood, where Britney had a good support system and could recover away from whom she deemed as bad influences. However, this wasn't over for Britney. She had been through so much the past 2 years, and she wasn't going down without a fight. Britney didn't know it yet, but this month would define the next decade of her life and career, as this would be her last month experiencing what little freedom the media left to her to live a normal life.
February.
I wonder if those chatters who said, why are we paying so much attention to this? Like, it's not even interesting. It's just like a rich person is still in here, like, with popcorn, biting his fucking fingernails on the side. Like, goddamn, like, I was so wrong. That is literally... That is the most wrong chatter in the history of Twitch chat. No one has ever been more wrong than that fucking Twitch chatter.
February 1st, 2008 would be the day Britney's estranged father, with a history of verbal and alcohol abuse, would begin taking total control of her life. Jamie Spears petitioned the Los Angeles Superior Court for appointment of probate conservator over Britney Spears. A probate conservatorship, also referred to as a guardianship in other states, is used for adults who cannot take care of themselves. Usually the conservatee is elderly, has dementia, or is disabled, making Britney Spears not the typical candidate for this type of conservatorship. The probate court can appoint a conservator of the person. Much like a parent caring for a minor child, they manage housing, food, clothing, day-to-day activities, and medical care. A conservator of the estate can be appointed who would handle the conservatee's assets and finances, or both can be appointed. Along with filing the petition for conservatorship over both Britney Spears' person and estate, Jamie filed for a temporary restraining order against Sam Lutfi.
AJ, the claims are absolutely wild and terribly sad and disturbing. They come from Britney Spears' mother, and I can tell you that we now definitely understand why a judge ordered Lutfi to stay away from her, her house, and her family.
Sam, why'd you park all the way down here?
Those were the good old days for Britney and Sam.
Now, the good old days are over, and a court has ordered Lutfi to stay away from her, thanks to some shocking, absolutely stunning claims from Britney's parents.
The parents literally think that Sam is the root of evil.
How's Britney?
Now, for the first time, Showbiz Tonight brings you the horrifying claims Britney's parents have made under oath against this mysterious figure in Britney's life who seemed to come from out of nowhere.
Hey Sam, what's going on?
Claims that Lutfi drugged Britney, cut her phone lines, and that he, quote, purported to take control of her life, home, and finances.
Along with granting the temporary restraining order, the
Bro, what the fuck? Yo, this is actually common with victims of abuse, is that victims of abuse, I can't even talk. What the fuck? What is happening to me? Victims of abuse routinely get abused repeatedly by other people who will like seek them out as vulnerable targets.
The court also granted the temporary conservatorship, naming Jamie and Andrew Wallet, Jamie's attorney, co-conservators of her estate, and Jamie sole conservator of Britney Spears. There would be a hearing only 3 days later on February 4th to reevaluate. Also on this day, Jamie and his attorneys would take steps to strip Britney of her basic rights. By law, a conservatee is to be notified of the conservatorship hearing 5 days in advance, which is really important so they can get legal representation before someone takes control of their life. An ex parte application to waive Britney's rights to receive this mandatory notification was filed by Jamie, and Judge Reva Goetz granted it. Jamie's reasoning was that Britney could be released from her involuntary hold prior to the hearing, and Sam Lutfi would be notified, posing a risk to Britney and her estate. However, when Jamie was granted temporary conservatorship, he was given the ability to secure her assets, have round-the-clock security with Britney, change the locks on her home, and access to her medical care. Jamie had the power needed to protect Britney and her estate. Not giving her the basic right to be notified was the first step taken to try to block Britney from fighting back and keep her in the dark while they worked to take total control. On February 2nd, Ron Rail, Britney's custody attorney, goes to visit Britney at the UCLA Medical Center as the temporary conservatorship would impact her current custody battle. He recommends Adam Streisand, one of the nation's top attorneys handling celebrity estates, to help Britney with the conservatorship. Ron Rail showing up must have put a hole in the plan to keep Britney in the dark, because shortly after, Ron received a call from Jamie's attorneys. Adam Streisand immediately sent an email to Jamie's attorney, Geraldine Weil, calling them out on their already shady antics. Streisand said, "I am told you called Ron Rail and told him that Britney has been adjudged incompetent. That is false, and you know it. You further stated that Mr. Rail has no right to see his client without approval from the..."
Here's the thing. If this person is like competent, not the lawyer, but like if the other side, the conservatorship partners are competent and they have done this many times, even to other celebrities, and are like a respectable figure in the community, a judge signing off on that conservatorship, no matter how overarching, over-encompassing, like and crazy it might sound to you, the judges will be like, yeah, of course, like this is a good person. I know that this person is like a respectable individual, and yeah, of course I'll you know, help. I mean, not help, but like I'll just sign off on this conservatorship and continue it.
Temporary conservators. That is also false. He then said the conservatorship is nothing more than a hostile takeover of our client for improper purposes. When Jamie's attorney, Geraldine Weil, received that email from Streisand, Britney had not yet had her capacity evaluation that is required by the courts. Geraldine Weil quickly emails Dr. Long, a psychiatrist who had treated Britney in 2007, asking him to do a capacity declaration on Britney Spears. Dr. Long, who appeared to feel uncomfortable doing this evaluation, told Weil the next day on February 3rd that his attorneys informed him not to speak with her. Also on February
His music is getting ridiculous though.
3rd, Samuel Ingham, Britney's court-appointed attorney, shows up to UCLA Medical Center to do a brief interview with Britney, but allegedly didn't give her any notice he was coming. This short interview would end up severely impacting Britney's ability to fight her conservatorship. It is the day of the hearing, February 4th, and Britney is still on an involuntary hold at UCLA, but Adam Streisand is there to represent her. Streisand explains to the judge Britney does not want her estranged father as her conservator, and Andrew Wallet, co-conservator, is called into question, stating Andrew doesn't have the expertise to handle a $40 million estate. Then Jamie's attorney questioned if Britney even had the mental capacity to obtain Streisand as her attorney. Samuel Ingham, Britney's court-appointed attorney, argued that in his 15-minute interview with her the day prior, she didn't have the capacity to hire direct counsel as she didn't understand the nature of the proceedings. Streisand responded saying he is—
Holy shit, dude. They're using their actual fucking... Whoa. That's nuts, dude. The moment that, like, the client that's under conservatorship is, like, demanding to get their own attorney, like, the court should absolutely step in and be like, yeah, we got to do that. That's crazy. That's actually fucking crazy, dude. How the fuck? It's GG's. Like, if you get 5150 and a judge declares you unable to take care of yourself, you're just stuck. Like, you have no autonomy ever again for the rest of your fucking life.
Is Britney's lawyer. Judge Reva Goetz then ruled that Britney did not have the capacity to hire an attorney, ejecting Streisand from the courtroom and siding with Sam Ingham, who only stood to financially benefit from Britney being forced to use him as her attorney. Ingham was paid around $405,000 in just 2008 alone from Britney's estate.
Britney Spears' father is staying in control of her affairs for the time being. A California judge reported—
We literally don't treat people with disabilities as humans. Like, this is unironically, like, you know, I joke about like MPD being like a debilitating disability or whatever, but like this is straight up an example of like ableism being so ingrained in our attitudes that like now I'm wondering like how many of these fucking conservatorship situations is just like based on incredibly faulty premises, or like that like people just like literally are no longer seen as human. Like they're literally not seen as human. You can't do this to another human being.
reportedly rejected a plea from one of the singer's attorneys challenging Jamie Spears' role as co-conservator.
Also a court appearance Monday by Adam Streisand, who said he had been asked by Britney Spears to represent her in the matter. He told the court that Britney doesn't want her father in charge of her welfare, but the court denied the request for Streisand to enter the case on Spears' behalf.
This judge yet again made a ruling that stripped Britney of rights every conservatee is supposed to have. Most importantly, the right to choose your own counsel. Britney never stood a chance. She was fully blocked from being able to fight for her basic rights and the empire she built before she was even released from her involuntary hold. What's also really strange is that Jamie's attorneys seemed to know this would be the ruling beforehand, considering they told Ron Rail days prior that Britney was adjudged incompetent. How they knew before the official ruling, before she even had a capacity evaluation, and prior to Sam Ingham's infamous 15-minute interview will forever remain a mystery. 2 days later, Britney is released from the site.
I think some of this is like, some of this is like a little bit embellished or like exaggerated. Maybe there's some omissions here. It's just like something doesn't add up, you know? It doesn't pass my immediate smell test. But regardless, like that part was that part is like a little weird, right? But it doesn't matter because, like I said, these people can get away with doing shit like this because they're already in a position of prominence. They go to the same cocktail parties. Like, the entire purpose of networking like this is so that other people rarely ever suspect them of doing something indecent. And that Hollywood Reporter article is like a perfect example of this, right? Where you look at the Hollywood Reporter article and it talks about how, Lou Taylor is a girl boss and she's working 24/7. Like, that's great PR for her. There are very little articles, on the other hand, about her being in the forefront of every single... Guys, stop. Okay, February. Okay, here you go. There are very little articles about her being involved in the conservatorship arguments revolving around Courtney Love, Lindsay Lohan, potentially contacting Amanda Bynes. I don't know if that's true or not. Like, it's so the conspiracy isn't that like, you know, these guys, the judge is in on it or whatever the fuck. It's more so that like it's oftentimes way simpler than that. You know what I mean?
Of the UCLA Medical Center. Jamie and Lynn Spears are really upset, putting out a statement saying the hospital should not have released her. However, the psychiatrist said they simply could not hold her any longer. She was stable. Brittany quickly hops into Adnan's car and she wastes no time heading straight to see attorney Adam Streisand.
Okay. Space.
What is it? What is the judge's name? Reva what?
Come on, guys.
Chat, what is the judge's name? Reva Goed? What the fuck? Okay. The person, I'm looking at this on the other side of the screen. The judge involved in signing off the conservatorship, like in the aftermath of the 5150 hold to the lawyers and the father, literally was a mediator in other abusive conservatorship court cases, as Judge Elizabeth Lippitt chose ex-judge Reva Goetz to set up the structure for like other abusive conservatorship situations. I don't know if this is the same person though. Like, what the fuck? No, it's about like, this is about older people. It's about older people with like estates and how people have taken like the estates of older people with conservatorship. Oh, this is Judge Brenda Penny. This is a different judge now. Crazy, dude. This is so creepy. I'm like a little worried looking into this. You're so selfish for leaving GTA RP? What? You need to get a skill like GTA RP, not just react to videos. You're so selfish for leaving GTA RP? What the fuck? Are you alright, dude? Like, why are you here? There's all the other RP players who are like still streaming. Like, why'd you come in here? Probably to watch the ad at the top of the hour every hour because it's coming right now. That's why he came in here. Now, of course, this chatter, just like you, know that if you subscribe, you'll no longer see the ads. You can do it for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Or you can use an ad block, or you can use a VPN. But yeah, at the top of the hour, there is a 60-second ad break. And you already know that. So use your Twitch Prime for free. Here's the ad break now. Dude, I'm doing so well with these fucking segues today. It's like literally every single one of them in 10-10.
Brittany wanted to challenge the conservatorship, but she was really concerned for her kids. Streisand said he couldn't help because of her being deemed incompetent. While Brittany was in the hospital, her father used her children as emotional leverage, asking Brittany if she wanted help getting her babies back. Streisand said she started to understand her best shot at seeing her boys was to just accept what was happening to her. The next hearing to evaluate Brittany's conservatorship would come, and Judge Riva Goetz would grant another extension of the conservatorship. Meanwhile, on the same day as the hearing, Brittany managed to get on a conference call with attorney John Eardley with the help of a paparazzi friend so Jamie wouldn't find out, as he was monitoring all of her calls. OK Magazine got a transcript of the call. Brittany said, "Basically, I want my life back. I want to drive my car. I want to live in my house alone. I want to pick my own security, see who I want to see, and make it happen." Attorney Eardley quickly gets to work and submits a motion to move Brittany's case from the LA Superior Court to the federal level, citing that her civil rights are being violated. This motion would get a new judge on the case. He explained,
Dude, what the fuck is monarch mind control, dude? Just because I'm looking at fucking like weird conservatorship arguments around Britney Spears doesn't mean like, what the fuck is this bullshit, dude? Like, I love when people just like, oh, it's MK Ultra. Christ, dude. Oh my god, do not look at that shit. It's right-wing conspiracy shit. Monarch mind control is what is it, like some fucking MK Ultra shit that you've or is like extended to like some right-wing conspiracy or something?
Brittany has not been able to have a single
Time to go deep, brother. No, I'm not going deep, you dumb fuck. Like, half of that stuff is like LSD, and the other half is just not real, okay? I'm sorry to fucking break it to you. Okay, brother? Just because I'm looking at this weird shit doesn't mean that, like, I believe in, like, any number of weirdo conspiracy theories that you fucking red-pilled dweebs believe in on the internet, okay?
hearing before the court and was stripped of the right to access counsel. She is being completely...
I love when like weirdo conspiracy theorists are like, yeah, this is how it started with me too. You're about to take the red pill, bro. You're about to dive deep. You're about to go down the well, dude. You're about to fucking see some things that are going to be too hard for you to handle, my friend. Yeah. Before you know it, there it is. QAnon. It's real. Why? Why is it that these people like make it seem like the untold truth, the unspeakable truth that they arrived at is like something that no one has ever encountered before? And it's so fucking good. And it's gonna, like, really, I'm gonna fucking fully believe in it. And if I don't, I know MK Ultra was real. I know. Anyway, let's keep going.
Isolated with absolutely no privacy. She can't make telephone calls, she can't receive or send mail, or drive a vehicle. At this point, Brittany has been stripped of almost every right a conservatee should have under California law. Eardley also explained, under the circumstances, Jamie Spears is denying Brittany not only her liberty, but the ability to participate in her own custody case. Jamie Spears and Andrew Wallet responded saying this is a brazen but vain attempt to strip a probate court of jurisdiction from an attorney without a client. Attorney Eardley responded in an interview with the Associated Press saying that he is concerned for the emotional and physical safety of Brittany under the circumstances. He was asked the last time he consulted with Brittany, and he said he talked to her a few days ago and someone wrestled the phone away from her and he had not talked to her since. Judge Gutierrez, who was overseeing this motion, ruled that it should stay at the state level because Brittany was deemed incapable of hiring an attorney, and Eardley does not have the authority to remove this case. Although Brittany was denied yet again from being able to fight the conservatorship, a right she has been denied multiple times at this point, she at least did receive some hopeful news. She was finally able to see her boys as
This is why TrueAnon Chapo and Death is Just Around the Corner are taken more seriously. They delve into the psychology and reality of conspiracy theories within Western society. Okay, let me just point something out here. This is the last time I'm going to do this. No, I did run an ad, Omotho. You just didn't see it. Okay, first and foremost, I mean, I don't know about the third one, but those other two that you're referencing are my friends. Secondly, I don't know why people feel like they want to act out. Like they're like, oh, it's time for Hassan to like read chat. So I'm just going to say like the dumbest thing possible. Lastly, it's hilarious that you're like, TrueAnon is taken more seriously. And finally, I have extensively covered the reasons as to why conspiracy theories exist, because a lot of people's worldview is rooted within like a non-materialist perspective. So of course you need to like ground your entire worldview and your theories in this like idealism. And that is where conspiracy theories work perfectly, because there's always like a villain. Oftentimes the villain in said conspiracy theories are Jews. That's why every conspiracy theory oftentimes goes back to like anti-Semitic shit. And also, just because, like I said, I've talked about this a million times over, doesn't mean that doesn't mean that I'm going to talk about it every single time for every single issue.
she regained visitation with her sons. However, a psychiatrist and her father must be present to monitor the visits. This would give Jamie even more control when it comes to Brittany's children. And using that control, the conservatorship would put Brittany right back to work with hardly any time to recover after her life has been turned totally upside down. She was on an episode of How I Met Your Mother, Brittany was seen going to the recording studio, and the conservatorship even hired back Larry Rudolph, who Brittany had made it clear she didn't trust and had fired 2 times in the past. The next couple of months are quiet as Brittany is already beginning to work on her 6th studio album. However, behind the scenes, it appears Lynn Spears is starting to realize she's getting pushed out of her daughter's life. In a series of email leaks, an alleged
The funniest part about it is that like, you know, these 2 demons are just like fucking battling one another too, over like how much they can exploit their daughter.
email from Lynn to Jamie Spears from May 28th, 2008 was also leaked. Lynn says, Jamie, I never thought you would ever make it possible for a court to keep my child's health information from me, her mother. You know you put your foot down about many things, and you could this one too. But once again, it's not important enough to you because it's me. You, as a conservator, can give your daughter's medical records to her mother to view, because I am the mother who was there when our children were sick and in the hospital. Where were you? The man you once were would have had no problem in telling those high-paid professionals that her mother has every right to know her child's health, court or no court. And I'm not the one making money off selling stories to magazines and never will be, if that is the threat they fear. And I know you don't understand those medical terms, you can't even pronounce them correctly, that are in the health document. So get Dr. Saja or someone to interpret it for you. Clearly you need to stay at the house with Brittany until she stabilizes on the new drug. Don't run out on your daughter again when the going gets tough, especially now. You surely are paid enough to put forth the extra effort. Please question your conscience about the real reason you allow me to get pushed out. What would Jesus do? Just one day after Lynn Spears sent the
Bro, God left this planet a long time ago, okay? Jesus is so, if he ever existed, he is so fucking far removed from the Spears family. Oh my lord.
aforementioned email Samuel Ingham, the attorney Britney Spears is being forced to use, was in Judge Reva Goet's chambers for 90 minutes, stating Britney should not participate in her July 31st hearing, saying it would be harmful to her. Judge Goetz agreed, stating Britney was on a new medication.
This person literally has actively worked as a mediator, selected by another judge in numerous conservatorship court cases, by the way. Like, this is kind of her bread and butter. I looked it up. Like, she executes conservatorship deals, basically. This is kind of like her fucking forte.
And her diagnosis had yet to be complete. So at this point, without even a complete diagnosis, Britney Spears is being told yet again that she cannot even appear at her own conservatorship hearings or have her own legal counsel. She is being deemed incompetent. Meanwhile, to the contrary, she has been working, acting, and recording her next album.
Britney's team looked at her like she was nothing more than a cash cow, and if she wasn't working, the people around her weren't getting paid. And with a ginormous media storm of her being 5150'd twice and put under a conservatorship, all the while she's still recovering from the lasting effects of 2007, Britney's team knew they had to do one thing to earn their paycheck. Hire a PR team, flip her image entirely, and push her harder than they ever had before. This process had already begun during the conservatorship, as when Britney was filming How I Met Your Mother merely 1 month after being released from the psychiatric ward, it was rumored that Larry Rudolph began shopping around a reality TV series that would reportedly document Britney's comeback to the music scene. Before Britney even had time to breathe after being 5150'd and thrust into a conservatorship, her team was already wanting to kick her comeback into gear and broadcast every moment for the entire world to see. However, a source also began telling outlets that Jamie was against the idea. He didn't want the world seeing everything that was going on behind the scenes. He needed that veil of secrecy. But the show was going to happen and began filming later that year. Even though she was fighting for her freedom, in true Larry Rudolph fashion, her team was still pushing her career full steam ahead, whether she was ready or not. As we saw with the release of Blackout, Britney didn't do a proper world tour promoting the album. Even though rumors of a Blackout tour were flying as early as October of 2007, the world never saw that tour come to fruition. This was a huge loss, as Britney's label and team hadn't seen the same return of investment that her other albums had had, simply because she didn't tour. This made the circus starring Britney Spears that much more important. She would need to promote 2 major albums across the world while going through personal struggles, legal back and forths within the court system regarding her conservatorship, all while having the media document every second of it. But Britney's team was going to make this tour happen regardless, and step 1 was her diet. The entertainment industry is known to be cruel when it comes to a performer's weight, and this isn't just the media. This can be people on the inside too. People who are meant to care about you, completely controlling your dieting until you can't think straight. For instance, Dr. Luke, a producer who was heavily involved in the production of Circus, once snapped in 2014 at a then bulimic Kesha after he saw a photo of the singer drinking a Diet Coke, saying, "We all get concerned when she is breaking her diet plan. We have seen it happen multiple times almost every day. It is also double concerning when the A-list songwriters and producers are reluctant to give Kesha their songs because of her weight." This was and continues to be the unfortunate reality of the music industry, and Britney Spears was no different. According to Daily Mail, Britney was back to a mere 126 pounds. Headlines would read, "I'm lucky to be alive," and in the next statement say, "plus her amazing diet secret."
Isn't Dr. Luke another fucking demon too? Dude, the music industry is so fucking bananas, dude. It's like, it is so crazy. The music industry is so fucking insane.
Secrets after the stress of her custody battle saw her, quote, tip the scales to 144 pounds. Daily Mail detailed that her expensive health makeover allegedly included $6,400 a month on a nutritionist and diet supplements, $5,180 on a personal trainer, and $2,600 on a private dance choreographer. A source told Closer magazine she limits herself to 1,400 calories a day, with one cheat day where she'll treat herself. She also changed the way she eats, trying to have only 2/3 of what is on her plate. It's all about portion control and fresh food now, and lots of water in place of Red Bull. This was hard work and wasn't put in place because she was unhealthy. Even when the media trashed her body at the 2007 VMAs, Britney was still toned. She was still more fit than any of the people trashing her. This was purely for cosmetic reasons, and that is Britney's prerogative. However, as we have learned, Britney's choices are oftentimes made for her. This is evidenced even further by Britney being made the face of Bally's in May of that same year. As if that wasn't quick enough, Britney was still recording her 6th studio album. It would be in the same category as Blackout. out, but more lighthearted and pop influenced. Keep in mind, while recording portions of this album, cameras were still following her for the reality show that was going to be released later that year. And at this point, tensions were very high between the Spears family and Sam Lutfi. As Jamie was attempting to gain more control over Britney, Sam and Jamie both signed an agreement stating that Jamie will stop pursuing the temporary restraining order against Sam as long as he agrees to stop contacting Britney. Around the same time, Britney sat down for a Take Two interview with OK Magazine. This interview is very important as we also see Jamie throw some deep, unnecessary jabs Britney's way, saying, "I would hope the conservatorship stands until the end of the year, and then we'll sit back and evaluate where we are at that time, where Britney is at that time. Our relationship is new for both of us. She sometimes calls me 50 times a day and asks me things that light my life up. But like all daughters, she is very manipulative and cunning, so she gets what she wants a lot." Keep in mind, Britney is sitting next to him while he's saying all of this. Anytime Britney did press in 2008, she was surrounded